Your website is the mousetrap. Your content is the cheese. Welcome to Content Matters with Barry Feldman and Andy Crestodina.
The majority of effective content marketers have a documented content marketing strategy. However, the majority of content marketers are not effective. What are they missing?
Barry, content marketing mission statements matter.
Yep. And so I guess that a little equation that where the dots are connected or not was that, the people that are effective with content marketing, which is a minority, generally do have documented strategies. And so, we're not going to have time to go from the top to the bottom of a documented strategy, but certainly a big, meaty chunk of your content marketing strategy or any strategy is your mission statement. So it makes it a great topic.
Sure, yeah. And let's cite the source. That is Content Marketing Institute's research, and they found that correlation when they asked people, what have you done? Are you successful? It's a brilliant little question, right? They ask, do you do this? Do you do that? And are you successful? Do you say that you're successful in your content marketing? And the people that gives 4 or 5s on that answer, on the scale, those are the ones, I think, like the majority of the people who say 4s and 5s are the ones who have documented that editorial mission statement, not unlike any publisher of any media, any publication, anywhere. These are the people who simply write down the mission of their content. It sounds so simple, right? It's deceptively simple. We're going to go into some details, but a content marketing mission statement is nothing more than a few sentences that describe who you're talking to, what you're talking about, and why. That's our topic for the day. It's content marketing mission statements, which we've been talking about a lot. We've been writing about a bit, and I think it's a really important thing because if you take this one action, you are statistically more likely to say, yes, you're effective, but it's because fewer missteps, right? Better focus. In advance your topic. In advance who you're talking to. So in my mind, I break it down to be very simple, and here's my template. Our content, and I'm going to call that 3 or 4 different things, your website, your blog, your newsletter, and your social media channels, is where audience X gets information Y for benefit Z. Solve for X, Y, and Z, and you'll have a nice mission statement that will forever put you on a better track, and you'll do better content marketing. You'll have an easier time knowing this is in, this is out, this aligns with our focus, and this does not. So that's my simple summary of the purpose and the structure of a very boilerplate template for content marketing mission statements. And Barry, that's what you were saying. So many marketers really just haven't done yet.
Yeah, you articulated it great with that XYZ thing. I mean, it's Polizzi really reinterpreted into a simple template. I did something similar in a presentation I call Fast Track Your Content Marketing Plan. And I said, articulate your approach to the content or industry, 1. Clearly define whom it's for, 2. And 3, state how the content will satisfy their needs by consuming it. So 1, 2, 3 is your XYZ in a different order. But who, why, what. And so I think the what is really throwing people. Because there's so many whats, and by so many whats, I mean there's so many tails wagging far too many dogs that are chasing their tails because along comes Blab. Or like in the last couple of weeks, Anchor, and along comes Pinterest, and these things are cool, and Facebook, and the audience is huge, and it's in the the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. I better be there, but why? Why? Who else is there? Right. Who's going to buy from you there? And when you find them there, what are you going to say to them? And how is that going to draw them closer to your brand? And so those tails wagging the dog, it simply doesn't work. And retroactively, when you ask those questions, how's your content marketing going? The people that give you disappointing answers are the ones that are chasing their tails because they didn't answer that why question.
Yeah. And so when you do this, it's going to help you avoid the shiny object syndrome, right? It's a little bit of a vaccine against the squirrel, like people like looking at some new network, like, oh my God, I got to chase after that. Oh, do you? Is your audience there, right? Audience X, information Y, benefit Z. I'm not going to say like, oh, I gotta build an audience on Blab. I have to be active on Periscope. I have to try this next new thing, right? This is a funny quote from Avinash Kaushik. I saw him keynote at Marketing Prof's B2B forum, and he said that GE is on every social network. GE will be the first and rush out and try and test and work on every social network, and that if next month someone comes out with Slapchat, GE's going to be there. They're going to slap you on Slapchat because they're on every social network. It's just hilarious to me. So, of course, they got deep pockets, huge resources, massive bazillion-dollar global company. But for the rest of us, I never feel like I'm missing out on a social network because I know what my mission statement is. I'm talking to Audience X, which is, marketers, business owners, and executives of companies, right? About content, information Y, helpful, practical marketing tips on content marketing and web design. For benefit Z, to get better results from their websites. This is all I need to do, right? It just sharpened my focus unbelievably on those specific things. The mission statement just, next time someone comes to you and says, hey, shouldn't we do this other crazy thing? You can say, well, really, hold on, let me check. Does it align with our purpose for marketing? And if the answer is no, you can easily redirect them towards something more fruitful.
Yeah, I think a cool way to think about that is, what do companies do with their company mission statement? Let's forget about content marketing for a second. Mm-hmm. They make plaques, and they stick them on their wall, and they stick them on their website, and they stick them in their human resources, initiation book, and so forth. So if we're talking about content marketing, the teammates kind of come and go. Not every content marketing team is, Barry, the solopreneur, or Andy, the co-founder / strategic director. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, and I know this because I'm on a lot of content marketing teams, besides my own, mm-hmm. So I've sort of performed the role of a teammate or freelancer or what have you there. And so they come and they go, and if it's going well, they grow. And so I think of the content marketing statement that can serve your purposes, that like we're doing it wrong or we're doing it right thing, is that piece of paper or web page that you present to somebody on day one and go, here's what you're going to do mm-hmm. every day, and if you do something that doesn't comply with this, you're doing it wrong.
Right. Exactly. And isn't this the same as everything, right? Like imagine you're working with a physical trainer or a life coach, or anything, right? That person is going to keep you on track. That's sort of what your mission statement becomes. It's like a little coach. It's a little voice. It's an angel on your shoulder that tells you this is a good thing. This is not the right thing. Stay on this path. It's your compass. It's going to take you in that direction. And since it's such a fun, branding, positioning exercise, the surprising thing is just that more people don't do it. There are lots of we posted a list of examples, and in B2B and B2C, it's really just such a powerful exercise. But I think that Joe Polizzi did it so well when he made that point about the benefit Z. Here's a quote from Joe. He says, "To work, your mission statement has to be all about the pain points of your readers. Let's be practical. Let's solve something for them. Let's help them, take an action on their own. It's about the pain, knowing that in an empathetic way, like this is what they really care about. If it's about their pain, we're going to feel empathy toward them. We're really trying to be useful and helpful to them. You can't, anything that as soon as you write down your mission statement, you're going to steer far away from advertising and hew much closer to that realm of content in the approach of just being useful and helpful."
Yeah. Well, what is that in your equation? That Z, that's where it ends, is the benefit.
Yeah.
So I think, the opposite is that you're tempted to put something about your brand or company or product in there. And that's not right? Your content marketing is about your readers, your consumers. Sometimes people come to me with kind of the content marketing standard question when they work in some B2B company and they say, our stuff's boring, Barry. How am I going to do interesting content? And I always have the same answer. I go, your content's not about your stuff. Your content's about your buyers. Right. They're not boring. Those are people. They have needs. Right.
Just put yourself in their shoes, just do that for just a few minutes, putting yourself in their shoes. You can very quickly learn. And this gets to that amazing, topic that you and I are both crazy about, which is what to write about. What are the best sources of topics? How can you get straight to that? And it gets very interesting when you start to look at what those topics are. And we all, people who've been doing this a while, look to the same sources. You can see, what are your readers searching for in Google? What are your readers searching for on your own website? You can set up the site search tool in analytics to tell you what people on your website are searching for. What are people sharing on other people's websites? What are your competitors ranking for? But here's my favorite source of topics, and this is something that a lot of people miss, talking about those things that people are asking you in offline conversation. What are those top questions that your audience has? What are the things that people have to talk to you about before they hire you? Have you written the answers to those questions? Have you gone deep on those topics? That's real empathy, is when you just source from your audience directly the questions and topics that they're looking for in sales conversations and in customer service conversations.
Absolutely. And if you're in a marketing department and feel like you're kind of removed from the answers to that question, get up and walk down the hall and talk to the people that talk to the customers, the support people and the service people. You've mentioned that a lot of times those questions and the answers come straight out of your email.
Your outbox is a gold mine. It's an incredible gold mine. Just go, this is an old blogger trick, if there is such a thing as an old blogger trick. How long is blogging? I guess it is possible, right? Blogging's been around long enough. An old blogger trick. Your greatest content is in your sent mail folder. Just go look in there. We should really just try to disabuse everyone of that notion. Anyone who asks that question, I'm in a boring B2B industry. Go look at your sent mail folder. Those are people who are asking you for help, right? They're trying to get information to do a better job or to, make things easier on themselves. So I think that's a great tip that a lot of people haven't done. It's the easiest form of empathy because your audience is coming to you asking those questions. What are the top questions that people ask you? That might very well be the heart of your mission.
It's definitely the place to start. And I think, some people may be reluctant to do the content marketing plan / strategy and the mission because they don't want to adhere to it every time. They want to sort of fly by the seat of their pants. It's easier.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the opposite question, right? Is I have too many topics, and this is something that I think Aline Smith maybe deals with sometimes. What do you do, Barry? I'm going to ask you open question. I'm not sure what the answer is. What do you do when you have a client that has 10 different audiences and they want to write 10 different mission statements?
I start by telling them to prioritize. That would make for one hell of a confusing anything, blog, I guess, to begin with. But yeah, prioritize and think inverted pyramid in terms of the low hanging fruit and where the money comes from. But I think you're probably going to want to speak to multiple audiences, and therefore you're probably going to want to have categories within your blog. They need to have connective tissue, right? There needs to be a theme, and if there's not, then you need to separate those assets somehow. You could create a Facebook group that specifically speaks to something that's sort of extracted from the big topic, or find a way to do that. You might do that on a podcast. Have you checked out Rainmaker's podcast network recently? They have about 30, and so they're working with different staffs and different podcasters and different promotional plans, and they bring it all together. And so that they're a good example of solving that problem, right? Copyblogger, and it's changed its name, right? It's Rainmaker Digital now. They're talking to people about writing and WordPress and marketing automation and email and content strategy, and so they have that challenge, and that's how they've solved it with lots of different media and separate channels in some cases. Yeah,
I like the term you just used, connective tissue. Right, there should be some overlap between these things. There could be a very broad statement you make at the top of your mission that is covering all kinds of things. In a big way. I think that the Inc. magazine, the famous Inc. magazine mission statement, is something about helping entrepreneurs and business owners get better results in their business. I mean, that's a huge topic. It's not everything. It's not their personal lives. It's about their business. So I get that there's still some discipline there, even though it can be very broad at the highest level. But I do know clients, and I've worked with people on a little content strategy engagements where we end up coming up with two mission statements, one for the primary and one for the secondary audience, because they might have very different goals. Like there might be a company that's trying to target, massive investors over here, and then they're also trying to recruit top MBA students from colleges over here. it's very different types of content and different strategies, different approaches to, in the Rainmaker example there, like the podcasting network, right? You'd have different formats and different messages, different things for those different audiences, although there is plenty of connective tissue.
Yeah, we also, we live in a digital world where change is expected and constant, and therefore we need to be more nimble, and we are more nimble. So as publishers, it's not quite like when we finish our content mission statement that we're sworn to it forevermore. And if you're looking for a great example of that, look at HubSpot. Once upon a time, their content marketing mission statement would have said inbound marketing in it. And I'm not saying that it doesn't now, but it would have talked most specifically to blogging, email, the type of things that we talk about. How to bring people to your website through online marketing channels. And then they've evolved, and they've built and acquired companies, and they've become a CRM company, and they've become a social media company. And now if you look at their blog, it has to have a different mission statement, a broader mission statement than it had before. And they often tackle productivity issues and employee management issues, real broad entrepreneurial type issues or things you'd expect to find in Inc. magazine. And so, why not let it evolve? At least they have one, and I'm sure that, they're careful enough to have written it and revisited it.
Barry, one final rapid fire question. Your content marketing mission, do you publish it or keep it in a drawer?
I think if you can figure out a way to publish it and make it fun, sure. I use an example from SAP, one of their publications, one of their bigger publications. It's right in the sidebar. It says it. I think American Express says theirs. So, we help people through this channel get these benefits. So there's no reason to not publish it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Just make sure you use it.
I totally agree. Okay, it's time. Mousetraps and cheese. Now's when we jump in with a traffic tip based on content. That's going to be Barry's piece, and a conversion tip based on web design, which is going to be my tip. So Barry, take it away with your top traffic/content cheese tip.
I got a double cheese thing for you today. I only planned to have one. I wrote down notes on one, but we didn't get to something I wanted to say, and they're both related.
Double cheese.
Yeah, we're going beyond Swiss here today, and so. We have talked about factual things that complete 3 blanks in a template that ultimately becomes your content mission statement and what you're going to do with it and why it's important. Now I want to make the benefit part better. And then I want to extend on 1, 2, 3 with sort of an appendix. So the better injects emotion. And the extension injects voice. So here, when I was talking about how to do this in my template thing that's called Fast Track Your Content Marketing Plan, I just made up a company, Say Hey Payday. It sounded kind of online-ish to me. And so they do payroll, through a SaaS type of thing. Say Hey Payday publishes a blog and information resources for employers of 5 to 5,000 people to teach them ways to create a happier and more productive workplace. So that's the emotional connection. That benefit is not just to process payments or process paychecks. It's to create a happier and more productive workplace. And so secondly, I want to add an appendix because there is no blank for this in our 1, 2, 3 template, that your content marketing mission statement, after it's established, the next thing you're going to do as it evolves is you're going to work on your content marketing voice. Because not all blogs do the same thing. Orbit has a voice. Feldman Creative has a voice. Copyblogger has a very distinct voice. Social Media Examiner has a very distinct voice. And so I think your content marketing mission statement very likely could be very similar to somebody else's, but your voice can't. Nobody can take that away from you.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way, Barry. I appreciate that.
Ann Hanley says, and I don't know if she's speaking specifically about content. I think she probably is. She's talking about any communications. If you cover up the logo, you can still tell what site you're on, right? Because
that's
you
great.
have a voice. And that's certainly the case with the things she does. All right, so over to you and mousetrap time.
Sure. So Mousetrap, here's a conversion tip for you. Now, there's really 2 kinds of web pages and 2 kinds of visitors. We've been talking here about content marketing mission statement, which attracts a visitor looking to solve a problem in their life. And we target those visitors with research-related key phrases, and they land on content marketing type pages, right? But when it comes to the money-making conversions, the lead generation, the e-commerce sales conversions, this is a different type of visitor searching for a different type of phrase, landing on a different type of page. If you want to convert visitors into leads on a lead generation website or into shoppers on an e-commerce website, bottom of the funnel, money-making, revenue-generating conversions, there is one simple trick, and I mentioned it earlier, which is to answer that visitor's top questions. That's when people don't buy. That's when people leave a website. That's when people get cold feet and decide not to become a lead, is because there was a piece of information from your website missing. So that trick earlier about listening to your prospects in the sales process or listening to your customers in a customer service context, take the answers to those questions, and rather than just say them once on the phone or email them out every day from your computer, publish those answers on the pages on your website that need support. The pages that have the highest drop-off, these are percent exits. The pages where people are going back to
That's
over
a great
and over
topic. I'm really excited. I love that you thought of this one. Okay,
if you have an e-commerce website, your analytics will show you the conversion funnel. And you can see if people leave a step in the funnel, they jump out of the shopping cart to go look at the shipping page or the promotions page, looking for a promo code to look for something.
Your favorite.
You answer those questions in the flow to keep them moving through. And answer your visitors' top questions to maximize the money-making conversions, such as lead generation. Pretend you are that audience, right? That's why the mouse escapes from the trap, is because there was something, you could call it cheese, right? There was something that didn't keep them there long enough to build enough trust. Maybe there was a key piece of information, one of their top answers, one of their top questions was missing.
They often are, and they're often the tough questions. What'll I do when this breaks? What does this thing cost? How does it compare to your competition? This is sort of the book out of the sales lion, but those are questions that must be answered, or you're not going to sell them.
Well, this was great. We nailed it, I think. Those are important tips. We can save those for next time because we've got a topic that's related to this.
We're going to talk about something really near and dear to my heart, your homepage, the headline, the design, the organization, the navigation, how to get it to do its job.
That's going to be great. Once again, I guess we'll see everyone next time.
It's gonna take